Go to Mr. Palmer from the Earth Island International Marine Project.
Close.
You have 10 minutes.
Close. Mr. Chairman, before the actresses here devolve down into a catfight, I'd like to talk a little bit about something. My money, by the way, is on Pamela.
Is your name Mr.
Excuse me, sir, yes. Mark Palmer. I'm Associate Director of the International Marine Mammal Project of Earth Island Institute.
Okay, thank you.
Where to begin? We have a lot of discussion about the saving of endangered species. There is only one orca species, subspecies actually, that is endangered. This is the Pacific Northwest population of orcas that is found off the Puget Sound area of the United States. The reason why it is endangered is because it has been seriously depleted by Seaworld and various other people. We have a Corky banner here coming up. The only reason why this species is endangered is because of the collection of animals back in the 1970s and 80s, which depleted the population. Therefore, the animals have not been able to grow. We have a number of pollution problems as well, which Seaworld is not dealing with. We have a number of other problems within Puget Sound, ship strikes, noise, pollution, etc., which Seaworld does not deal with or does not even mention in their presentations. So I don't think that they're doing much for conservation. I don't think they're doing anything at all. And I can make an argument that they are doing a great deal of damage to the people of the state of California through their miseducation of the public, their misstatements about what's going on. They talk about Corky, and here we have the Free Corky banner. Corky was captured in the Pacific Northwest. It is one of the only animals, I guess there are two animals at SeaWorld San Diego that was caught in the wild. We do have a possibility of returning Corky back to the wild because we know where Corky's brothers and sisters are. They've been watched and they've been studied for a number of years by biologists up in the area. So Corky is a possibility indeed for returning a wild orca back to its home where it was once ripped off from. Remember, when you take an orca out of the environment, you are taking it away and put it into captivity. You are taking it away from the two most important things in that animal's life. Its environment and the freedom of the seas and the whole aspect of the environment which has molded that animal into the animal that it is. You remove that from them. Even the orcas that are born in captivity, they are not meant for captivity. They are not supposed to be there. Unfortunately, as the people said earlier, we can't release those animals. They will have to be in public and private ownership for the rest of their lives because they can't be released. However, I will note that under the Constitution of the state of California, this is something that the California Coastal Commission should take very close to your heart. Under the Constitution of the state of California, wildlife belongs to the people. Those orcas do not belong to SeaWorld. The only reason SeaWorld has them is they have a permit for them, for their ownership, for their care, but they belong to the people if they belong to anyone. I would also point out, you've heard some of the put-downs from the SeaWorld people coming in to this. This is typical of SeaWorld. They call us extremists. They call us and various other names that you've heard today, including from the nice actress. It seems to me that we should take that into consideration as the Commission. Can you trust SeaWorld? And I would tell you that you cannot. They call us extremists, and you have a letter before you from a number of scientists, including the terrible extremists, Dr. Lori Marino, Dr. Jane Goodall, Jean-Michel Cousteau. They could not be here today. The reason is, no doubt, that they're out doing something extreme. We are not extremists. We are organizations that are very deeply concerned about these issues. We've been working on these issues for years and years and years. We provided you with a copy of Blackfish. Each of you was sent one from Earth Island Institute. Blackfish is not an animal extremist documentary. Those were former SeaWorld employees who spoke into it. Now, if SeaWorld has a problem with them, they ought to look at their own employment policies rather than claiming that they're animal rights extremists or some other sort of derogatory language that we've heard today. We are not extremists. We're looking for a way to resolve this issue. The solution indeed is not to release these animals back into the wild. Most of them cannot be released back into the wild. We do think that a sea pen operation, which is a natural enclosure, not an artificial expansion of the concrete tanks, the expansion of the prison is still a prison. What we want to see is sea pens out in the ocean where these animals can thrive, where they can feel the tides, where they can feel the winds, where they can chase fish, where they can do things that orcas do, instead of doing a show each and every day on the hour, which is what they do now in captivity. These animals are not free. They are working for their food. They will not do their tricks if they're not hungry. So therefore, they have to be kept hungry in order to be fed. Yes, they get the food at the end of the day, but if they weren't hungry, they would not do the tricks that you see before you in Seaworld. I would also mention the litigation that's ongoing that is going to test some of these issues. We are working with the law firm of Covington and Burling in San Francisco, Earth Island Institute in Anderson versus Seaworld, which is in Northern California court, which challenges these very claims that Seaworld has been making as a violation of unfair business practices and violations of consumer protection laws. That litigation is ongoing, as I say, and we're hopeful that we will get it. We're not asking for a big chunk of money from Seaworld. What we're asking for is a court order against them making these statements, these false statements that they've been making, and indeed making the truth available to the public about their orcas in captivity. And that's what we want to get out of it. You can be a part of this effort to phase out the captivity of orcas in the wild, in captivity, in the state of California. We're working with the state legislature. We've got the courts involved. Here, the California Coastal Commission has a chance to make a stand on this issue. You can deny the permit, which the nice actress would like you to do, or we could condition the permit on ending the breeding in captivity of orcas in the state of California. And you'll hear more about that proposal from Sarah Wan when she gets up to speak with you. One more mention on the Corky banner, thanks to the volunteers who have put it up. If we could run it around so everybody else in the room could see it, and it looks like I've beaten the clock, so I'll say thank you very much for your time, and I hope you do the right thing.
Thank you.